Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namaste. Good morning. It is Shuddha Ekadasi, April 12th, 2022. And I decided to wake up early today. It is a, auspicious day. Ekadasi is the day to reckon with the Lord. If you don't know about the Ekadasi, it comes twice a month usually. And actually within every calendar month you'll have two Ekadasis more or less, just by design, because it's by every 30 days, by every 15 days or so it will spring, because it's twice a month. It goes by the lunar calendar. So even in the solar calendar you will still have two Ekadasis lined up every month. So I'm going to go from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're just going to wing it this time. The Super Soul. Let's see what Super Soul wants us to read. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So it says, beautiful, 10th canto, Krishna chastises the serpent Kaliya. So Krishna's still a boy, right? The inhabitants of Braj are like, wow. They're not exactly, not all of them are calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead yet, because we're still in Dwarpa Yuga. People have divine, let's say spiritual cities, perfections already, still, because they're still, mixed in with the gods. The gods are still coming and benedicting them quite easily, because people are more pious, the souls are more worthy. That's the thing about sin. When you sin, you got to remember, you might have a little comfort here, but it's like the comfort of a mouse that wants to be, hidden in the wall, and, just not really like in the spotlight of life. So Krishna's perceived by some in different ways. And it wasn't until a certain point that, that Vasudeva, or Devaki Nanda Maharaj and Mohini, they were basically, Yasoda Devi, they were told, all of them, they understood, Devaki, but Vasudeva, all these parents, at a certain point they were told, like by the sages and rishis, like, your son is not normal. He's not a regular, let's say, bhakt. He's not like your standard devotee, right? Like standard persons, they have to sit in a place for many, hundreds of years at that point, maybe, or decades, 12 years, and do severe austerities to even get a darshan with the gods. Your son is just doing it naturally. So here we go. Ya etat, to the verses 10, 16, 61. Look at that. Ya etat sam smaren martyas tubhyam ananushashanam kirtayan upayo sanyor na yusmad bhayam apnuyant. If a mortal being attentively remembers my command to you to leave Vrindavan and go to the ocean, and narrates this account at sunrise and sunset, he will never be afraid of you. Yosmin snatva mad akride devadim starpaye jalai uposya mam smaran archet sarvapapai pramuchate. If one bathes in the place of my pastimes and offers the waters of this lake to the demigods and other worshipful personalities, if one observes a fast and duly worships and remembers me, he is sure to become free of all sinful reactions. Now, you saw me line that, I didn't line that up. But this is Krishna in a Srimad Bhagavatam telling that if you fast for me, what we're doing right now, okay, that was another G&A miracle. That was. You saw me count it. That was a miracle. Because we went right to the page where Krishna says, he is sure, or if one observes a fast and duly worships and remembers me, he is sure to become free of all sinful reactions. This is how important it is to follow Ekadasis, because you don't want to be contempt of sinful reactions in this world. But you don't want to just worship for your sinful reactions, you want to do bhakti. Sinning and worshiping sinning is called an elephant who takes a bath and then right as soon as he's done, rolls in the mud as if that's just the way it is. You don't want to be that elephant. You want to be a person who bathes, remains pure, and keeps going on with their purity. Okay? And you want to avoid offenses. Don't harm any Vaishnav. Don't touch any Vaishnav's body. Don't speak ill about any pure Vaishnav for any unnecessary reasons. If they are threatening your life, that is the only time. If they're harming you, that is the only time. If they robbed you or took in your wife, then you can speak about it. But don't dwell too much, because you confine your misery too far. You don't need all that misery. Okay? Now, let's go on to the purport here. According to the Acharyas, the Lord spoke this verse to make it clear to Kaliya that he could by no means remain in the Yamuna lake. Although the Lord, he had mercifully pardoned the serpent and ordered him to go to the ocean with all his associates, Kaliya should not even request to remain in the lake, because it was now to become a holy place for spiritual pilgrims. So basically, this is the thing he says, the purport is the Acharyas explained that at that point, the lake was purified. And there was no place for a giant serpent that was powerfully, endowed with many heads to remain there. It's a monster, and these are not always vegetarian fish, let's just say. So there's no need to stay there, because Krishna almost killed him. But it was the queens who begged mercy, Kaliya's queens. So the serpents used to have abilities to speak, just like Jatayu was a bird that could talk. So bird and serpent could talk, even though they're rivals, they say, right? Now, Dvipam Ramanakam Hitva Radham Etam Upashita Yadbhayat Sa Suparnastvam Nadyan Matpadalanchitam. Out of fear of Garuda, you left Ramanaka Island and came to take shelter of this lake. but because you are now marked with my footprints, Garuda will no longer try to eat you. Oh my god. I just made another Geo-Negative miracle. I didn't do that. No, that was Providence. Because I was just talking about birds. You know, the holy birds. Yeah, and it went right to the verse about Garuda, the holy bird. Right? I was just talking about how the birds and snakes are opposed. So that was another, affirmation of God, super soul, and the divine flow of this. And I'm not looking. Here it is again. Shrira Shirvacha Mukto Bhagavata Rajan Krishnena Bhuta Karmana Tam Pujayam Ashamuda Nagapat Nyascha Sadaram. Sukadeva Goswami continued. My dear king, having been released by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose activities are wonderful, Kaliya joined his wives in worshipping him with great joy and reverence. Purport. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur comments as follows on this verse. The word Adbhuta Karmana indicates that the Lord's wonderful activities of saving the residents of Vrindavan from Kaliya, saving Kaliya himself from Garuda, and bestowing grace upon the victims of violence and the committer of that violence. The word Krishnena by Krishna indicates that because Kaliya's wives were great devotees of the Lord and offered him loving affection, Krishna withdrew his karshanam, both Kaliya's offenses against the Lord's devotees Garuda and that against the residents of Raj, who were very dear to him. And I just spoke about that too. So Kaliya, at that point, was able to render service to the Lord and do gracious things. So we have the last verse, right? The last three verses. Dviyam parashanam manibhi paradyar api bhushanai divyagandhanule paischa mahatyot palamalaya puja yitva jagannathan prasadgarudvajam tataha prito vayunuja gatva parikramya bivanyatam shakalatra shurit putro dvipam adher jagama tadaiva smrita jala yamuna nirvisha bhavad anugrahad bhagavata kreda manusha rupini rupana. So Kaliya worshipped the Lord of the universe by offering him fine garments, along with necklaces, jewels, and other valuable ornaments, wonderful scents and ointments, and a large garland of lotus flowers. Having thus pleased the Lord, whose flag is marked with the emblem of Garuda, Kaliya felt satisfied, received the Lord's permission to leave. Kaliya circumambulated him and offered respectful obeisances. Then, taking his wives and friends and children, he went to his islands in the sea. And the very moment Kaliya left, the Yamuna was immediately restored to her original condition, free from the poisonful nectar water. And this happened by the mercy of the person of God. It was manifested in a human-like form to enjoy his pastimes. So the Lord, as you see, Kaliya was not a resident there. And it was imperative that he go now back to the islands he was from. He was from some sort of islands. And these islands could have been there, and they might be gone now, because there was a submergence at that period. So he had the luck of Krishna dancing on him, getting his direct mercy. By that he was purified. So we should, understand that. And try to get the mercy like that if we have to. You know, we're in this world, and if we get some chastisement from Krishna, we can't say that we're the losers. We have to turn around and say, no, Krishna's giving me his mercy if he's giving me some kind of reaction. It's Krishna, not some manufactured person. But if the Lord in nature is giving me reactions, then that means he's actually giving me mercy. And therefore, I should make the effort to change my courses of actions and become a great devotee. That's the purport of that. Not that we stay on the path of obstinance, going against the Lord, right? We want to become devotees of God, and that's more important than anything. So I believe that if you're a devotee and you ever perceive the Lord's giving you reactions, the first obligation of you is that you must go find out why, who, and go give that person your respect and your mercy if you've offended a devotee of God in any way, cheated him, took something from him, broken his marriage. You should be pitiable at his feet or her feet, and asking forgiveness. Honestly, this is the way of bhakti. Just like Kaliya, and others that